What's up, guys? Welcome, welcome. Crypto FUD. And let's jump right into this. All right, perfect. So we're good to go. What is going on, guys? Happy Thursday. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. We aren't going to be on for too long, but let's cover some bunch of stuff that we're going to run through real fast. So I'm just going to start off. If you are watching this after the fact, you guys did great on the last video. TJ, what's going on, brother? Make sure you guys, please, just slap the like. Please. Come on. Hit that like. If you're new here, hit that subscribe. I do appreciate the support, guys. Let's just jump in here. So right now, Bitcoin. Flip, what's going on, brother? Bitcoin right now sitting at around $118,285 and, well, now it just jumped up, $118,300. Honestly, looks great. I know it's been kind of choppy, a little bit boring in the last couple of days, but I did basically discuss this in the Discord very briefly earlier with I think Flip was asking. Right now, looking at Bitcoin, the market, we're looking great. Honestly, we're looking fantastic. We have found some massive support. Obviously, we did drop down yesterday, I believe. It was yesterday where we dropped down to about 117, 100, but you can see it was a quick V shape. And we keep basically just hovering around mid 118,000. So like 118,004, 5, 6. As of now, it looks like we have some good support at around that 117,800. So you guys can get the gist of that. We've been kind of chopping around, but still holding great support. We're not dropping down, and I don't want to speak it into existence, but we're not dropping down into some lower numbers that'll kind of spook the markets. We've been kind of hanging around in these higher teens, 118, 117,000, looking fantastic. So we have great support as of now. The market looks great. If you guys can see, we've been kind of in this channel, this downward channel. Obviously, looks like a beautiful bull flag in my opinion, to where we could easily break out at some point. You guys know how Bitcoin works, right? We always get these massive run-ups, right? Market goes euphoria, and then for the next few weeks, we'll kind of chop around. We'll come back to retest certain levels, right? And blah, 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 blah. But then out of nowhere, a few weeks later, we start running up again, right? And as of now, I do anticipate something like that occurring. I'm not really anticipating unless something big happens, maybe, tariff-wise, macro-wise, something like that. If just looking at these charts of what we have as far as information in front of us, we look solid. We look solid. So for right now, I can say we are very bullish, and I wouldn't be surprised if things stay the way they are, that we eventually break above this higher trend level, which is pretty much has us pinned somewhere around 118.9 to 118.6, somewhere around there. We'll easily break above this, in my opinion, if everything stays the way it is right now. We'll probably start seeing another breakout. Could we see all-time high soon? Potentially, right? Because we're going to come back up to retest that 123 area at some point. So for me, what I'm always saying, obviously not financial advice, but we are so close, right? Thumbnail. We're so close, guys, right? And if you've been on this journey for the last few years while we've been on this run, everything has been built up to where we're at right now, right? Go back just a week ago, Ethereum was absolutely ripping. Ethereum's still doing great right now. We're going to pull up that chart here in a second. But just think about it. Dominance was dropping. Everything was kind of going in our favor, and you saw what the market was doing, right? You saw a lot of breakouts and a lot of projects, right? And that was just a little teaspoon of what's going to come at some point. So we're so close, guys. When is it going to happen? Your guess is as good as mine. I still believe that 4-year cycle, right? We're probably towards the last quarter of this year is where we're going to probably see altcoin season really taking effect. But who really knows, right? We covered this, we covered this on our members only stream. Every 4 years, right? It looks similar, but the dates a lot of times don't align exactly, right? So sometimes we look back in 2017 and it was like around December, January kind of the following of 2018 where we saw like a big top out for alts. We go to 2021, it was actually during November, the end of 2021. Well, you fast forward now, we're coming up to that 4-year mark, would technically be around November, but who knows? Maybe it's a little bit before, maybe it's a little bit after. We don't really know. All I can tell you from my opinion is that we're so close. We're so close. And that's why I've been just stacking up on meme coins and stuff like that, and just adding to my positions on a lot of projects that I'm very bullish on, that I feel like have so much potential and still a small market cap. They're going to see so much upward growth, in my opinion, when all that money, that exit liquidity comes flying in. So, Craig, what's going on? Flip said ZBEX looking like it's ready to go. Let's pull that up real quick. I have the chart. Yeah, she's running, bro. She's running. She is running. Flip, let me give you a little secret, bro. I didn't want to tell anybody in the chat, the Discord. I ended up catching the top, bro. I ended up catching the top the other night. No Diddy on that one. But I ended up catching the top of ZBEC, right? And it was like it was at like 44, and I was like, ugh, I was up like crazy, and I was like, should I take some profits? Should I just sell my position and reposition myself? I was like, because I know how ZBEC is, right? Long term, so bullish on this project. And another thing too is on the last stream, this was just 2 days ago, I believe, right? The last time we had our normal stream, I think either 2 or 3 days ago, ZBEC was down here, and we were somewhere, because we're looking at the 15-minute. Let me pull up like a 4-hour chart here. ZBEC was somewhere like maybe in these areas right here. And we were talking about it on the stream. I was like, I'm so bullish on ZBEC. Later on that night, we obviously saw ZBEC just go flying, just running like crazy. Was up, I think, 40% later on in the day. And I was like, you know what? We're up, at the time we were up like 42 to 44%. I was like, you know what? It was so hard, but I was like, I'm going to sell my position, right? And I'm just going to pray that ZBEC does the normal thing that it does, where just in most projects, right, where you're going to see a 50% increase in literally 4 hours. You're usually going to see people take profits. And I don't think it's going to come back down to, where it was down here in the 20s or anything like that. But even if I can get a 20%, drawdown and then reposition myself, that's exactly what I did. The only thing I will say is, Flip, I didn't announce it in the Discord because I wasn't sure about it, right? And I didn't want to sit there and be like, I'm selling my ZBEC to reposition myself. Other people do the same, and then ZBEC freaking runs, to all-time highs. Everybody's going to be looking at me like, really, bro? So I just kept quiet. I did it. And I was able to, I was even like biting my nails like, I was like, I don't want to miss out on this run. So when we dropped back into this consolidation box, I basically just started to slowly accumulate. The only thing I will say that I'm kind of like, is I didn't pick up exactly what I sold, right? I picked up probably 60%. So I don't have that full position that I had before. So that's the only thing where I'm like, I have a nice size. No Diddy on that one. But I have a great position, but it's just not where it was just a few days ago. And I'm kind of just like, ugh. Like, I want to buy. But I can even just right now, I can buy back, that position and still probably pick up a 10%, because if I didn't catch the exact top, but if you go from like 44 to where we're at right now, it's 5%. If I was to buy in, it would be a 5%, where I'm getting it cheaper. But I'll kind of just wait. I'll let it be, because like I said, I am comfortable with what I have, but I definitely want to pick up more. So, but very, very risky, Ro. Very, very risky. You won't sell until 4 cents? Hell yeah, that's a 10x from where we're at right now. So, definitely a good move right there. So, let's zoom in. So, Bitcoin coming back up to the channel right now. See if we can zoom in real quick. Yeah, Bitcoin's coming back up to the channel right now. I wouldn't be surprised, guys. Like I keep telling you, what do we always say, right? If we keep retesting certain areas, it's going to break, right? It's going to break. And you can see we're not necessarily retesting the bottoms. It might feel like it, right? But we're actually, if you look at these candles, we're testing this trend line a hell of a lot more than we're testing the bottom side, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a nice little breakout coming out for today. So we'll see how this is, or how this plays out. So it looks good. Looking at the crypto bubbles for today, for the daily, it's kind of hit or miss. Hit or miss right now. You can see Pump, obviously the big bubble, down 22%. I called this out, what was this, a week or two ago, like pretty much when they dropped. I said, guys, I would stay away from Pump Funds coin as of right now. And the only reason is because it's a fresh project. At the time, it was at like right under $2 billion, right? I was like, people are in massive profits right now. be very cautious. There's going to be massive sell pressure. And that's exactly what we've seen in the last, since it's pretty much dropped, there's been massive sell pressure on pump. So I don't know when. We'll pull up the charts here in a second. I actually have some news on Pump Fund on why I think there's even more sell pressure, unfortunately. And disclaimer, I use Pump Fund daily. I'm always in the trenches, either getting my ass handed to or catching these 10Xs. It's just all over the place as of now. Craig said, you ever looked at B3 base chart? I have some, but it's just going sideways forever. Bro, you've had us pull that up, I believe, before. If you want, I'll pull it up here in the next few minutes. Let me just run through these articles real quick, and then if you want, just remind me, and I'll promise you I'll bring that chart up. I promise. Scouts honor, all right? Scouts honor. I will bring that up. So what's going on in the markets for today? Let's pull up a couple things here. Let's see here. First, if you saw the thumbnail, you could see basically the global M2 versus Bitcoin year over year. A lot of people have been really following this chart, basically, and what happens is there's a perfect reason why, because when global liquidity obviously goes up, Bitcoin usually tends to follow. It's not the exact same, right? But if you can see, you go back to 2021, right? You look at the blue line. I believe the blue line, yep, blue is going to be your global liquidity, right? And you can see in 2021, we had a spike. Well, why did we have such a spike in global liquidity? Well, at the time, if you guys remember, we were going through a world event, and there was a lot of money printing going on, right? So a lot of liquidity, basically in cash form, went out to basically everybody and their mother, right? A lot of money out there, and you can see Bitcoin ended up following, right? And as liquidity started to go down, the markets went down with it, right? And that's why a lot of times people tend to follow this. I don't use it as like the holy grail, but this is a big indicator, usually showing you that when a global liquidity, when there's a lot of money out there, usually it tends to trickle into riskier assets like Bitcoin in the crypto space. And you can see liquidity has nonstop been moving up in the last 2 years, steadily moving up. And you can see, obviously, for Bitcoin's chart, we've been doing the exact same thing as well. So right here, you can see not exact, but M2 liquidity has spiked in the last 6 months. Bitcoin is starting to do the same exact thing. So like I said, not the exact like chart. It's not going to be T to T, but you can see they usually run in parallel, very similar. And this is why I tell you guys, just hang tight. I'm telling you, we have big things heading our way as far as in the crypto space. It's so close. Next thing, XRP takes a brunt of crypto sell-off as $1 billion of liquidations flush hit the markets. So crypto traders woke up to a sea of red on Thursday after the total market shed $100 billion overnight. This was basically from yesterday to today. They're talking about the whole crypto space. We lost about $100 billion in the crypto market cap, right? So XRP led the losses among the top 10, with its price plunging over 10% in 24 hours, briefly dipping down below $3. More than 315,000 traders were caught off guard, liquidating nearly $1 billion in positions, with Ethereum longs taking the biggest hit, according to CoinGlass data. And this pretty much just shows you, Ethereum, very bullish on it, right? But am I opening up a freaking long right now, 100x long on Ethereum at $3,700? Probably not. And the reason is because the odds of us having a cool off or an odds of us having some kind of a retracement is always there, right? It's always there. And this is what happens. This is what fuels the big, the downward movement that we usually see is liquidations. When you're getting liquidated, you have to cover that liquidation so that it basically causes sales, right? So $1 billion in positions were basically were liquidated. That means $1 billion of just liquidations were sold off off of the crypto space. So that right there is contributing to us on top of whatever else is causing us to slightly sell off overnight. So despite giving back much of its gains, XRP is still up around 40% for the past month. We actually have XRP's chart up. Look at that. So you can see as of yesterday or last night, right? We're looking at the daily. So a few days ago, XRP ran up to about $3.66. You guys can see, but obviously there was a nice little move towards the downside. Let me explain to you why this chart right here for XRP is absolutely so bullish, right? We had a nice run coming from, you go back maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, Ethereum was at what was that, $1.94. Massive run up to $3.66. We're going to get a cool off here, right? It's just inevitable. That's why I don't understand people, instead of opening up longs down here while we're consolidating, they open up longs when we're way up here after we've run up 30-40%. Like, it's just, it blows my mind, right? Not financial advice, but if you're looking for a long, right, that means you're anticipating the market's going to go up. Why not open it up after we've seen a big drawdown, right? Instead of opening up after we see a big draw up, it just makes no sense. If anything, this makes more sense of briefly opening up a short. And that's normally what I do. I just closed a short last night on Bitcoin. I closed it this morning, actually, on Bitcoin for 110% gain on a short, right? So I opened up a short yesterday, I think it was. I'm trying to think, did I have it open for a day? I don't remember, but it was for yesterday when we spiked up briefly up to like 119 and some change. I opened it up, and woke up this morning, it was up over 100%, so brief, right? Just, I wasn't anticipating holding that short open. I knew we were going to get probably a little cool off because of the charts that I just showed you. We kept running up and basically hitting our head, right? So I opened up a short somewhere briefly, actually, when we were in these areas, right? And I closed it this morning when we dropped down into the 117s. That's where I caught that. And if you guys are interested in stuff like that with leverage, obviously I don't give out financial advice, but we do cover that on our members only stream. We do a lot of leverage trading on top of going into the trenches into pump fund. So, but like I was saying, why am I so bullish on XRP as far as this chart? I don't own any XRP. I might have a little bit in one of my wallets, but nothing too crazy. But you can see this is the fib retracement, right, on the daily. And look at this. We ran up to that 366 and we came back down to retest. I have it as a support level, but I'm going to actually move this. Oh, okay, I see. We didn't even I'm thinking that we came down to the 236. We didn't even come down to the 236, right? We basically bounced off the top of this consolidation zone that we've had. Nice little bounce. We didn't even come down to the 236. You guys know how I always say, we run up and we make either all-time highs or local highs. A lot of times we'll need to come back down to the 236 to just kind of retest it, get that support before we continue to move. Look at this. We didn't even need to come down so far. We bounced right at the top of this consolidation zone, which is around $3. It did drop down to about $2.95 very, very briefly, and now it's up to $3.21 on a nice little bounce. So again, very bullish, very bullish. You're always going to get these small little retracements as we move up, right? Same thing for Bitcoin. We're always going to get these retracements. People are going to take profits, right? You're not going to sit here and see these charts where they go up 40-50% in a few weeks or even in a few days. They're going to take profits. There's always going to be a retracement. That's why I always say patience is key for it all, right? It really is. Patience is key. So, and you can see right here, XRP cools off. It's exactly what it did. It just, oh shit, that was an all-time high? Hold on here. That was not an all-time high, was it? For XRP? No flipping way. That was an all-time high? Am I late to the party here? Holy no way. Didn't XRP hit $5 before? It never hit $5? Am I imagining something? That was an all-time high. Let's see here. XRP's sharp drop comes just a week after it broke through its 2018 record to hit a new all-time high of $3.66. That's crazy. It did. I'm surprised everybody. I mean, I guess I wasn't really watching YouTube or anything like that yesterday, but I'm sure everybody was like, "Yeah, XRP all-time high." That's awesome. So, I mean, the fact that it hit all-time highs, it's going to see a cool-off, and it's literally at $3.21. So, it's hanging tight. Looks good, obviously, on there. So, And then Ethereum bulls get wiped. While XRP led the top 10 in terms of losses, most of the pain and the derivatives market came from Ethereum, right? And this is going to be obvious because everybody is so bullish on Ethereum. Unfortunately, you're having, and I'm not going to say beginner investors, or you just had people that position themselves in a bad spot, right? Like I said, the worst thing that you can do is come up to a project, right? And if they would have had this chart, they probably would have known maybe to hold off. But the worst thing you can do is you know, that we're looking at the weekly here on Ethereum, right? And you can see this massive run up on Ethereum, and these people are opening up longs in this area after we just had the obviously hindsight, but I mean the time to open up longs was all back here, right? All back here. You're opening up a long at our 236, which, you know, could play out, but the odds of us having a cool off are so significant, right? So significant, and you can see that's why a lot of these people got wrecked on their leverage trading. So XRP looks great. Same thing like I just talked about with Ethereum. I'm backwards. Ethereum looks great. The same thing I was just gonna say about XRP is almost the same thing for Ethereum, but slightly different. You can see the downward trend. This is from 2021's high, right? Obviously making higher lows, other than maybe this one time where we did have this double top at 4,100, which was very brief in December of 2024, about 8 months ago. As of now, you can see the nice run up we're on the daily. It looks like we were finding support above the 236, but as of now, we're actually hitting our head at the 236 as of now, right? So we're trying to find support at the top of this trend, right? That I said was most likely either the trend or the 236 was going to be the big spot that we need to hold. We obviously would like to have the 236 at around 37.25 as our support level, but we don't have that as of now. We're finding that support on the trend line, and it looks like somewhere around 3,600, 3,630. We've obviously dropped down below there on candle wicks, but you can see the actual candlestick where it looks like we're finding support somewhere around or at that trend line for now. So the only thing I will say is that look where we're basically hitting our head on now is the 236. That's slightly bearish. It is slightly bearish for right now. We definitely want to see, this is on the daily, we want to see a nice close above the 236. That's going to give us that indication, that confirmation that we're probably going to be coming up to finally retest the 4,000 and 4,100 area. So Ethereum is not there yet, right? Not there yet, but I would imagine it will be there soon, hopefully, if the markets can stay healthy. Dominance, another thing too, right? If you're ever wondering, Bitcoin dominance and Ethereum, they're inverse, right? Inverse as in Bitcoin dominance is going down, Ethereum's usually going up, and vice versa. If Ethereum is heading down, dominance is usually heading up. And you can see yesterday Ethereum was heading down, right? Ethereum was heading down, and look what we saw as of yesterday. We saw this nice green candle, unfortunately for dominance, started to spike up, but look what it did. It came up, and basically this support level, this was a support level. We broke below it. On dominance, this is around the 62% level. It looks like we came up and basically hit our head and got rejected, right? So hopefully we can get the hell away from this 62 level and start coming back down. We don't want to keep retesting this 62% because most likely that means that dominance is ready to come back up, even if it's briefly. If this does happen, you're going to see a lot of alts start to retrace as well. Dominance goes up, alts are going to come down. It's just the bottom line. That's how it works, right? So we want to see dominance continue to move down pretty much. So a couple other things here. So let's see here. I guess yesterday, I don't know if this article was as of today, but I guess it was yesterday. A lot of, I guess, sellers were a little panic. Punk, what's going on, brother? Ayaz, remember, brother, I don't mind you coming in, promoting whatever you have going on, but please don't shill it in the chat. That's all I ask. All right, remember you had to go in timeout like 2 weeks ago. I won't have to do that again, bro. I felt bad. Well, let's see here. I'll even read out what you're saying. Cardano, what is that? Digital Money. Okay. All right. Please don't put that in the chat one more time, or you will be going in timeout, buddy. All right. Punk, what's going on, brother? So Arkham confirms U.S. government's $24 billion in Bitcoin holdings is debunking holdings, debunking 85% sell-off rumor. So I guess there was some kind of BS going on around the market yesterday that the U.S. government was either anticipating or they had started selling off 85% of the Bitcoin holdings. If you were to believe that, you are probably lost, because why the hell would the government be doing that at the same time we're passing all this legislation and we have the most bullish, and I don't care, I'm not getting political, but we have the most bullish White House that we've ever had in history, right? Why the hell would the government start selling Bitcoin? That just makes no sense. That's like, remember a year ago, the German government seized like $4 or $5 billion worth of Bitcoin, and they start selling it off on Central Exchange, right, on KuCoin, and the market started to take a shit. And then I just read an article, we talked about it on the stream like 2 months ago. The German government is looking to acquire Bitcoin. They were selling Bitcoin that they basically took from some hacker or wherever, however they acquired it. $5 billion worth, $4.9 billion, right? They sell it off on a central exchange, right? You don't do that shit. You normally sell it on OTC to the exchanges behind closed doors so you don't affect the market. These morons are selling it, opened up a KuCoin account and just started selling Bitcoin, right? At what, $60,000, $70,000. Now, a year later, they're looking to pass legislation to start acquiring Bitcoin at $120,000. Make it make sense, please. Make it make sense. That's who you're dealing with over there. So the point of why I bring that up is because why would the U.S. government do this when essentially that's what they would have to do down the road, potentially buying Bitcoin at such a higher price. Right now, I don't think the government would want to be buying Bitcoin at 120K, but if they do, that's great. But if they started selling off, obviously the markets would start taking a shit. So ARK Intelligence has clarified. We follow ARK on Twitter as well, or on X. Let's see here. And look at this. First thing that they have here. Did the U.S. government sell 170,000 Bitcoin, $20 billion worth? No. This is an awesome... if you guys aren't already, follow them on X. These are basically... They follow every government. They follow every major whale. All the wallets, because crypto is very transparent. They follow everything, and they clarify, and they'll even announce like, hey, this government's selling. These people are selling, or these people are acquiring. These people are buying, right? So this right here, I would follow them on X, Arkham. So they say no. This Freedom of Information request response from the U.S. Marshal Service cites them as holding 28,988 Bitcoin, which is 3.4 billion, but other departments of the U.S. government also seized and hold Bitcoin, including the FBI. And basically, they're clarifying that the government is not selling a drop of Bitcoin, and it's all freaking rumors. And you wonder, like, who would start some rumors like this? Most likely people that are trying to scare the market to either get Bitcoin for cheaper, or people that are just, I would blame it on people that are holding gold. That's who I'm running with. I blame it on the people that are holding gold. They're the ones that are starting all this FUD, right? Because they're sick of Bitcoin winning. Even though gold's been doing fantastic too, right? Gold, I mean, it's down right now, but it's at $3,300. Gold's been doing fantastic. So it was probably gold. Look at this. Bitcoin broke 119. Nice. Looks good. And what's crazy is Bitcoin just broke 119. And look at dominance. Dominance is actually steadily coming down. Steadily coming down right now. So this clarifies. I mean, you can see we just zoomed in on the 2 hour, right? Bitcoin's up right now. Nice green candle towards the upside on the 30-minute. And on the 2 hour, you can see dominance is coming down. This clarifies that we don't have to have dominance high for Bitcoin to continue to do really well. all dominance, all this means when dominance is coming down is that money isn't strictly just flowing into Bitcoin. It means it's flowing evenly, maybe not evenly, but it's flowing not only into Bitcoin, but into the alt sector as well, right? So Owen said scalping is good, not just holding. I hear you. Flip said stay on Crip, we're turning green. We are. I ain't going anywhere, bro. This is a marathon. We're going to be on for 24 hours. I'm going to be the first crypto channel. We're going for 24 hours, guys. So you can just put me on one of your earbuds while you sleep, and I'll whisper some smooth Bitcoin knowledge and Zbex stuff in your ears. All right, Flip? Zbex doing great. I'm just kidding. I'm not really going to do that. Drinkathon? You don't want me doing that, bro. You guys remember when I was drinking rum that one time on stream? Started talking like a damn pirate. I was literally talking like a pirate on here, and I try not to curse on the regular streams. On the member streams, I'm just like, I don't care, bro. This is all of members. We're going to say whatever the hell we want. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much as far as news-wise. Oh, yeah. One more article. So, remember, Pump Fund is not doing the best right now. Arrgh! And I don't even drink rum really much. Like, my new drink right now, since I got off the cruise ship, my new drink is vodka and Red Bull. I never drank that because I'm not real big on Red Bull. But, man, it was so hot. Obviously, we went down to Mexico for like a week. It was so flipping hot, and I had that drink package on the boat. So I was just like, from like 10 o'clock in the morning till like I literally, sometimes I had to cut it off like a few hours before bed. Because I was just like, bro, I've had so many drinks today. I was like just looking out for my liver. But that's the new drink for right now is vodka and Red Bull. It get you drunk. You remember Dave Chappelle? Drink Samuel Adams. It'll get you drunk. Flip said I'd get banned if I start brown liquors. I hear you. Maybe that's what it is. I can't go dark. Vodka and tonic with lime. I'll have to try that out. I'm not real big on the tonic because it has like no flavor, but I'll have to try it out. I didn't think vodka and Red Bull was my thing, and then here we are, right? So let's finish off with here. I know, Craig, you wanted me to look up one of your projects. I'll pull that up here in a second. Hold on. I see you said I lost 560 XRP out of my Coinbase wallet last year. Did you get hacked? You know, one thing is the pleasures I say of using like a bigger central exchange like Binance and Coinbase is they at least have, I think you can actually contact them, you know, and have them look in to see maybe what happened, where if it got transferred out, if it was something on their end. I don't know if you already did, but I mean, 500, that's $1,500 right now. More, that's like $1,600 right now. So is Pump Fund in hot water? Legal woes deepen as the third lawsuit alleges fraud. This could be a reason why Pump Fund is down even more. Let's pull up Pump's chart while we're talking about this. This is Pump, right? It is. Alright, so you can see obviously when Pump dropped, they should have dropped this on Pump Fund. You know, like they should have dropped it on Pump Fund and gave everybody a chance to make so much money off of this. Bro, that would have been epic if they would have dropped it on Pump Fund, right? With like a $10,000 market cap. Well, I guess that I don't understand why they didn't, because people would have gotten so much of the circulating supply. Yeah, I understand now. But you can see this chart looks like a chart that a lot of people either got a lot of pre-sale, right? A lot of, probably they had investors that were in before the launch, stuff like that. So you're going to have people taking profits. Sell pressure is going to be a bitch. And then on top of that, you have some kind of a lawsuit, or the third lawsuit. So let's just read into this real quick. So meme coin launchpad Pump.fun and its founders are back in the spotlight, and once again, it's for all the wrong reasons. So a recently amended class action lawsuit is turning up the pressure on Pump.fun, accusing the Solana-based platform of operating an illegal scheme that systematically drains retail traders through rigged token launches and insider-driven trades. So, filed in the Southern District of New York, the lawsuit alleges that Pump.fun, its founders, and affiliates, along with Jitto Labs, Solana Labs, and Solana Foundation, orchestrated a full-blown racketeering scheme using flashy marketing, automated bonding curves, and bots to exploit users. Wow. So Pump.fun's meme coin casino pumped and dumped lawsuit. Plaintiffs point to over 11 million tokens launched via Pump.fun between January 2024 and mid-2025s. Dude, do you see 11 million tokens launched in literally a year and a half? That's crazy. Of these, over 98% collapsed within 24 hours. The lawsuit argues that these tokens weren't investments but digital scratch tickets designed to generate transaction fees, not long-term value. Wow, that does make sense. If you use Pump.fun, that literally makes sense. That you would think, okay, they're the ones creating the projects and dumping. No. What they're getting alleged of doing is basically creating the projects and just basically initiating people buying in, them using them capitalizing off of the transaction fees, right? So you think about this, 11 million tokens were launched. Think about that, 11 million. What's an average token that gets dropped? We can pull up Pump.fun because I'm going to be in the trenches today anyway. But this makes me look at Pump.fun. Look at this. We updated our terms. Is this all coming up on screen? It is. I wonder if this has something to do with it. We updated our terms. By clicking continue, you agree the terms conditions clarify that you are over 18 years old. Isn't that crazy? So if you guys can see, if you're familiar or if you're not familiar, that we do Pump.fun on our members only stream as well. But you can see these newly created projects. I mean, it's just endless, these projects during the day. Like during the day, there'll probably be anywhere from 3 to maybe 10,000 projects that'll get created today, most likely, right? And what they're basically alleging is that maybe it's some kind of a bot system that's creating these projects, right? So we'll click into this project that just dropped. It literally just dropped 33 seconds ago. Look, it's running. 115, 117, 120 people, or 21. You see how many holders are it's boot, right? Pump.fun's making money off each transaction. Every time someone's buying in on this project, they're making money off the transaction. Whenever they go to sell, they're making money off the transaction, right? So Pump.fun might not be the one that's taking the liquidity out of these projects, because we know these projects are most likely, watch this project 10x in front of everybody, and I'm going to be pissed. But imagine these projects, they're not necessarily the ones taking the liquidity, but they're maybe in cahoots with whatever bot or whatever people or whatever is creating majority of these projects just for the purpose of people buying and selling in, right? And then they're saying that it has a 98% chance that the projects are going to go to zero, right? And I literally, whenever we go on to the members only stream and we're in the trenches, I literally, before even this article, I tell everybody, you have a 98% chance that these projects are going to zero. So when I jump in on these projects, let's say I jumped in down here, I probably would have already sold out, right? Within a minute. Because within a minute, look at this. In 5 minutes, this project's up 459% right now. So that's a 7x. So if I would have put in $10, I would be cashing out $50, right? $10, I'm sorry. If I put $10, that's a 7x. I'm going to be taking out $70. I don't know what I was thinking there. If you get the gist. So I can make quick transactions, and I don't give a shit if the project freaking goes to zero in 5 minutes from now, which at 98% chance it's going to. I just come in, get my money and get out. And guess who else is getting paid while I'm doing that? Pump Fund. Pump Fund's getting money because of the transactions. And I really don't care about that, right? I personally don't care about that necessarily. We're going to come back to this because I'm going to show you guys. This is probably going to go to 0. So we'll keep this up here. But going back to this, that's what the lawsuit is alleging, that Pump Fund is behind majority of the projects being created solely off of people just buying in on the projects, and then the project goes to 0. But no matter what, they're making money off these transactions, right? More projects being created, more transactions being made, more money going into Pump Fund is what they basically are alleging. So the platform reportedly earned more than $722 million in fees from the activity, when including Solana and Jitto Labs. The total revenue tied to the alleged scheme surpassed $3.18 billion. Can you imagine that, bro? The people that own Pump Fund are probably going to be one of the wealthiest people, probably top 100 wealthiest people in the country, if they're making this kind of money. Let's see here. So plaintiffs say that all parties worked together to create what they called the meme coin casino, where tokens launched mimicked slot machine mechanics, and early access was reserved for bots and insiders. You hear that? So, and that's another thing too, is they have bots where the project dropped. Maybe they already had people that already bought in before the project actually was released to the public, right? This project's still running. I'm kind of pissed right now. You guys see this? This project's actually still running right now. Let's pull up the 1 second. Oh, this is a scam. This is a scam. So real quick, I'm going to show you guys this right here. You see how this chart has the run up, and then this is an unnatural chart right here. This is 100% a scam. 100%. Most likely you buy in, you can't sell off, right? Or whatever the case is. But this right here is 100% a scam. 100%. This is an unnatural chart. You see how no one's taking profits? It's up 700% right now, right? So you catch on to a lot of these things when you trade daily on Pump Fund. It sucks, but like I said, it's very risky. But what do they always say? The higher the risk, the higher reward. You can literally make so much money on Pump Fund. You really can. It's just like I said, you got to take your losses. You got to take your wins with your losses. Another project that just dropped. Goodbye. It says Aussie is gone, but goodbye is his own coin. Yeah, so good old Pump Fund. You know, it stinks. I don't want anything to happen to Pump Fund, but at the same time, it's like, you know, you see a lot of these, you know, these stories of what's going on. And then the actual project, I wouldn't touch it right now. I would not touch this project. And the reason is because there's probably going to be, if they're doing that shit on Pump Fund, what do you think? You think these insiders didn't get in on this project? They probably already sold all out of their position, but still, I would not jump in on this project for right now. I know Troy's probably listening to me like, damn it. Look at Ethereum. Ethereum broke above 3,700. Where's Bitcoin? Bitcoin's at 119,371 right now. Donald, what's going on, brother? Craig said pump.none. Craig, what was the project you wanted me to pull up, brother? Did you delete the comment? B3? Alright, let me pull that up. You said it's on base, right? Yeah, right here. So what were you saying, that the project's been kind of stagnant? It hasn't really done anything? So, I mean, looking at the project right now, bro, I mean, market cap 74.7 million, liquidity at 1.5 million. Doesn't look bad. Volume doesn't look terrible. 262,000 in the 24-hour period. And the one thing that kind of gets me as on this swap, right? Aerodrome, this swap, which is the biggest swap that's on base, less than 300 people have traded the project in the last 24 hours. That means less than 300 people have traded, or wallets have traded it, but there's $262,000 in transactions. That usually tells me that it's probably a lot of bot trading. They're trying to keep the, like, look at this wallet right here. This is just today. So what it is, and this isn't bad. All projects do this, but they get bots and they basically have them buy and sell all day, right? Buy and sell so they can keep the volume up, right? But in all due reality, there's really not a lot of people actively trading now. It says there's 2 million holders. I 100% doubt there's 2 million holders in this project. So, I mean, I'm not going to say that I don't know anything about B3 whatsoever. Created by an X-based team, B3 is the first horizontally scaled hyper-operation gaming ecosystem built on the top of Base. I wonder if they're on Coinbase. Let's see. That's the perks of being on Base, is a lot of times, yep, it is on Coinbase. So what's the actual volume's at $6 million. Okay. So that's good. I mean, it looks like it has a solid community behind it, bro, to be honest. It's on Coinbase, obviously, right? And then you have MEXC. It says Binance Alpha, which I don't know exactly what Binance Alpha is. It's not normal Binance, but KuCoin, Crypto.com. It's on all the big exchanges. So, I mean, the project is a solid project, right? I just think that right now it's probably just going through some kind of a phase where it's consolidating, right? Pull up the actual chart here. This is on the daily right here. So I will say, if you're looking to long-term accumulate, where you're at right now is probably not the worst timing, just because it's down, obviously, from these all-time highs. I hate using fib retracements when you have such a blow-off top like that. Let's use something like this. So, I mean, you can see for B3, looking at this fib retracement, look at it. It's been basically just consolidating between the bottom of the fib and the 786, which is, the 786 is around the 33 level. So, all I can say, bro, is if you're long-term, if you believe in the project, I mean, it's got a solid, looks like it has a solid community behind it. It's trading on Coinbase. Market cap's at 58 million. I mean, it looks like this thing at some point will probably take off, right? I just think you got to have patience, in my opinion. So that's pretty much what I'll say about this. Just patience, and like I said, if you're long term, the bottom of this fib, somewhere around the 24 area, would probably be a good spot for accumulation, not financial advice for the project, bro. And that's pretty much where I'll leave it there. But good luck. I hope, a few months down the road, you tell me to bring it up just to show it in my face. Like, look at this, bro. You're just 10x'd. It's all about patience, bro. That's what it's all about. Gotta have patience, Crip. Bunks up 12%. Exactly. Patient. Oh, appreciate you. Think I'll hold. Yeah, I would, bro. Especially where you're at right now. I don't know if you're probably you're probably in the red on it. I would just hold off, not financial advice, and just wait for that thing to explode. No diddy. Athena's up. A lot of Ethereum projects are up. Athena's up 10%. Ethereum name service is up 7%. Ethereum itself is up 4% right now. Looks good. A lot of projects. Let's go into hourly. Look at the hourly. Look at everything's starting to turn back into the green. And I would imagine, because Ethereum's up 37.50 right now. Bitcoin's at 119.10. Bitcoin dominance. Let's see if this is continuing to drop. It's kind of staying stagnant, to be honest. But it is down. We'll take it. Yesterday we had a nice little spike up. We're starting to come down again. Again, I've said this and I'll say it again. I think when we're really, we're going to see a $4,000 Ethereum when we get into the 50s, right? When we break below that 60% and we're in 59, 58, 57% dominance for Bitcoin, that's when I think you're going to see Ethereum. I know for a fact you're going to see Ethereum at 4,100, 4,200. That's when you're going to really see Ethereum breaking out into the forest. Right now, you guys have to remember with Ethereum, when right now for Ethereum, you have to remember Ethereum was hovering in the 2000s for a while, right? So us even being at 30, 35, 36, 37, you're going to have a lot of sell pressure, right? You're going to have a lot of people just taking profits, trying to get out because they're terrified, right? They're scared, right? They've been down like crazy. They're finally maybe in the green or breaking even. A lot of people are selling. On the flip side, what did we cover last week? Institutions are gobbling up, no diddy, just picking up Ethereum like crazy right now for long term. They're picking it up because that's the ecosystem that they want to pick up, that they want to build on. And that's why you're seeing, nice movement. We're holding steady levels, but we're also, when we get up to this 37s and stuff like that, we're seeing somewhat of some nice sell pressure just because you have probably retail taking profits right now, just maybe looking to reposition themselves or whatever the case may be. But as dominance comes down, right? Inverse. Dominance comes down. Ethereum moves up. When we break above that 4,000 and really this 4,100 level, this is going to be a spot to look out. Like I said, it's going to probably be one of our hardest spots, 4,100 and 4,800, the top of the fib. Those are going to be the two key areas that we're looking at that are going to probably give us the most hell as far as the massive amount of liquidity we're going to need, because the sell pressure is going to be so vast at 4,100 and at 48. 4,100, given that this is the last time we've hit this area, pretty much every time we've come up in the last 2 years to 4,100, briefly, we have been rejected and sent packing, right? So 4,100 is going to be that big area, our first hurdle. 4,800 is going to be probably even bigger just because it is our all-time high, right? But I do think as we get above 41, if we can break above and, however long it takes, but we stay above that 41 as some support, we have never done that, right? As soon as we do that, that's confirmation all-time highs are going to be coming. So, Manny said, when you saying Ethereum 50 dominance? When Ethereum's got 50% dominance across the, I don't think Ethereum's dominance is ever going to be at 50%. I don't think that's ever going to happen, bro. And we don't need it to happen. We don't need Ethereum to have 50% dominance over the that would be bad, in my opinion. That would be terrible. Ethereum's dominance is at 11.74%, which is great, but we don't ever need Ethereum's dominance. What's all-time highs for Ethereum's dominance? 30%. This was back, you go back, this is 2017. There were probably like 5 cryptos at the time, So Ethereum being so high in dominance makes sense. But now that we have a lot of other projects, that are, in the mix, we don't want Ethereum's dominance to move up to 50%. If Ethereum's dominance goes up to 50, right, Bitcoin dominance would probably be around 30 or 40, probably at like 40 or 45. That means 5% of dominance, 5% of the money would be in the other projects. That means everything else would be down to like zero, pretty much. We never would want to see Ethereum's dominance go up to 50%, ever. Never. So, but things look good today, guys. Looks like Bitcoin got rejected at around 119.5, somewhere around those areas. So we'll see how it plays out. One thing too before we go, yesterday we did get an announcement. I don't know if it came out yet. Something about Japan. Well, we got the announcement on the trade deal with Japan, right? And then we're getting word. This was as of yesterday. Trade deal with the EU somewhere around 15%. So whenever I think this gets finalized or those get finalized, the markets will probably react positively, right? And in most terms, they'll probably react positively. It's definitely better than something worse, like something bad with the tariffs. The EU, we continue to have to keep kicking the can down the road. At least we're finding some kind of resolve. So, but with that being said, that is pretty much it. Markets look good today. Hopefully we'll hold. We'll probably be back later on for our members only stream tonight. So if you are a member, just look out. We'll probably drop it in the Discord when we're going to go. Other than that, guys, please, real quick. You've never seen a grown man beg, but I'm going to do it. Hit the freaking like button. Hit the damn like button. Please, right now, slap the like. All right? I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic, productive Thursday, and I'll see each and every one of you guys a little later, okay? All right, guys.